Why don't you treat your barbell rows like a normal compound lift, like your squat, deadlift, bench? Actively try to get it stronger. Really focus on progressively, linearly, whatever you want to do, load the bar. Just move the damn row. How do you move it? It's not going to be strict. A lot of the times it's going to be a little bit of body English, but that's okay because the weight that you're using is far, far below to what your spine can usually take. So your deadlift is, in my instance, my deadlift is 265. What I'm doing today is rowing 90 kilos. So I can use a bit of English. Now, there's a little bit of a gray area there because if I really, really use some body English, then I'm really half deadlifting and half rowing. But even that has a place. Just holding a super maximum weight, let's say it's a super maximum weight, you can't strict row it, but you are rowing it to some degree. I think there's benefit there. It's kind of like a pin squat. It's kind of like a rack pull, block pull, that kind of thing. You're using, depends on who you are, but using more weight, you're overloading a particular range of motion. And it's a technique that a lot of people have used to get stronger. And so if you use the barbell row in that same mentality, if you approach it with the same mentality that you approach the deadlift, the squat, overhead press, you name it, bench press, I think there's a lot of benefit there. And the question then is, why don't you treat everything like your main compound movements? The simple answer to that question is you can't. You don't have enough energy in your system to focus on 25 different compound lifts and try and progress all of them. It's very, very difficult, especially if you're trying to use them, high frequency type of setting. If you're doing one lift once a week, then okay, 25 weeks, each lift 1 week or whatever. Even that doesn't make sense. But I've made a conscious decision that I want to progress the row. This is one area in my life that I've never really pursued. I always, like I said many times before, I always treated the pull-up as my row. I always thought it was a better option. But now I'm like, okay, let's approach the row with good energy. And today, doing these 90 kilo rows, there's more English than I used with 80. Now, in the last few weeks, I've been using 80. Now I'm using 90. Does that mean I've gained 10 kilos extra of barbell rowing strength? Probably not. I'm just using more English. But what I plan to do is, in the next week or two, go to 100, row 100 for best as I can for 3 sets of 10. Maybe go to 110. And these weights are going to progressively start to look more and more like a deadlift. I'm going to be heaving them up. And then eventually I'll go back down to 80. Now, purely just the expression of the nervous system, the 80 is going to feel really light and I'll become more comfortable in that bent over position rowing. That's kind of how I will look at it. I wish I could do that with the squat, right? Heave the squat up, heave 220, 230 up, and then go back down and really focus on really nice, controlled, high bar, ATG squats. But the thing with squats is you can't. It's just so freaking dangerous. With the barbell row, you let go and it's done. With the deadlift, similar thing. The deadlift it's a bit different because it's, you're breaking dead weight off the floor. With the barbell row, there's a bit of energy about it. You're kind of bouncing it up and down and whatever. So that's how I think about barbell rowing. I'm really trying to get after it. Now, the 90 kilos feels like more body English. However, the funniest thing is, last time I did 90 kilos, I got some DOMs in my traps, and I want to say kind of like rhomboid area. So when I was doing 80 more stricter, there was no DOMs. I'll do 90 with shittier form, DOMs. Now, isn't that interesting? Now, from a muscle building point of view and getting stronger point of view, isn't that interesting? What's going on there? I'm using crappier form and I'm getting more out of it. It's because when you are wrestling a bear, you're not worried about anything other than, I need to wrestle the bear. You're not worrying about which freaking muscle is firing. You're just worried about fighting the bear. 90 kilos for me is fighting the bear. I'm just moving the weight whichever way I can. The general consensus is I need to be bent over. After that, it's go for glory. Use whatever I can. And muscles fire in a weird sequence. And now, even sitting here waving my arms around and talking, I'm feeling my traps. It's weird. Now, how many guys can you think of in your mind who are sticklers for strict form and they have no traps? Think about that's me, man. That's me. I don't have any traps. Really perfect form, no traps. Thin as a piece of paper when they turn sideways. But then you see a wrestler right, who's got his head freaking tucked under, somebody's trying to snap it, and he's trying to heave that person up, he's not thinking about form. He's just thinking about, get this guy off me. Massive traps. You think about those bros in the gym that are using straps and they're like heaving the freaking weight up every which way in the barbell row, in the deadlift, rounding the spine, huge back, huge traps. Sometimes we can get in trouble in our own mind thinking about form is everything, perfection, no swaying. Think of the body as a whole bunch of muscles. Whole bunch of muscles. And if you're interested in strength, you are trying to get stronger in movements. You don't care which muscle is doing it. Move. Strength is about movement. Move the damn thing, whatever the thing you're doing. Squat, bench, deadlift, move it. As long as your skeletal system is not being put out, deviated in some wrong position. You don't want the discs copying it. That's kind of how I think about it. So when I'm heaving this barbell up in the barbell rows, I'm using more hip extension, but I'm not using my lumbar spine. Like I'm not collapsing the integrity of my spine. There's a difference. You can heave, and then you can heave with a broken back, right? Have your core and everything intact, and get after it. So the barbell row for me it's a glute, it's a hamstring, it's a core, it's a back, it's an upper back, it's my grip, it's freaking everything. I'm wrestling a bear. That's literally how I think about it. So it doesn't look pretty, but that's kind of the conclusion I've come to. I'm gonna get after it and just move the damn weight. And I have a feeling it's already working. My muscles are responding. I'm getting stronger at moving the weight in that position. Simple as that. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.